Hello everyone, my name is Josh and this is the Skype for Business recap. Once again, another week and not in the normal office. We're still traveling, though we're getting ready to travel back home. So next week we'll be back in the normal office for the show. We'll have the whiteboard with our hashtags and our Twitter handles and all the other silly props I have in the background normally. And have some better lighting as well. I do apologize. I have some terrible overhead lighting here, and it just doesn't really do the trick for video quality. But you know, when you're traveling, you improvise, you do what you got to do, and so that's exactly what I'm doing. At any rate, again, we are late tonight. It was just way too busy of a day between arranging things with family and getting work stuff handled and all that. There was just no way I was going to get this show recorded early in the morning. So we're cranking it out late again. But you guys have been awesome. You've been supportive. You've continued to watch the show anyway and retweeted and shared. And I appreciate all that. Honestly, I do. I wish I could give you a little bit more normalcy with when the show is actually going to land and all that stuff. But at least there's some consistency with the fact that it is there each week, right? So good times. All right, enough rambling. I took some notes. I didn't find this week to be as busy or active or as chocked full of as much good information on Twitter and LinkedIn as like the last episode or two has been. But there were, of course, still some good things out there. And I've taken a few notes here. We're going to go over those. We're going to jump over to the infinity screen to do that. One other note, I have seemed to misplace my mouse on this trip somehow. So I don't have easy access down here. I'm going to have to reach up here to use my mouse pad, the built-in mouse pad on the laptop. Oh, this feels really silly. And yeah, well, you know, you're traveling. What can you do about it? So at any rate, please pardon my reaching across the mic here to access my mouse, and we will jump over to the infinity screen and get this thing rolling here. All right, there we go. Browser. Okay, so the first topic I wanted to talk about tonight was yet another update to the client. In particular, tonight we're looking at the Skype for Business for Android. Michael LaMontagne, who is an Office Servers and Services MVP, and his Twitter handle is at realtimeuc. He is always providing good content out there and putting useful pieces of information out there for us. And he's also usually one of the guys that is typically on top of letting us know when there are updates to clients. And so he shared this one on Twitter this week, and it's really just for all of us Android mobile app users out there that use Skype for Business on our phone. If we scroll on down to, you know, kind of read what's new, we'll find that this is not some crazy update that really just blew our socks off with what it addressed. While we're at it, man, 3.8. I mean, I think the app is good on Android. I think it's a good app. It does well. I don't deal with crashes. I would have hoped it would have better than 3.8, but that's sad. Whatever. It is what it is. So the new version is 6.4.0.5. As they say here, what's new? You now have the ability to continue with your Skype for Business call or meeting even when intervened by a cellular phone call, or choose to answer the phone call. Intervene seemed like poor wording because it confuses me as to what the actual change here is. When I read this, I'm thinking what they mean is interrupted by a cellular phone call. The best I can understand, what they're saying is if you take that phone call or are interrupted by the ringing, either way, whether you answer it or not, you can resume the Skype for Business call that you had going, much the way you would resume a normal phone call that gets interrupted by another call. I guess that's what they're going for there. I haven't tested this out to verify that for sure, and frankly, the wording is just kind of poor and confusing here. So, and then below that, we've got our very generic, just general performance improvements and bug fixes. No idea what bug fixes those were. I assume they're related to people's clients crashing, or like I said, I don't have any problems at all with my Android mobile app. It is a beautiful app. It works well. I never have crashes, never have issues with it working. So I'm not really sure what was addressed there. But if you are one of those people who seem to be plagued by little weird oddities here and there in your Android mobile app, go update it. Maybe it was one of those bugs that was fixed. So, and if you don't like it or it didn't fix your problems, you can always join the crowd that's dragged this rating down to 3.8 and let them know what's still not working for you. That way maybe they'll get it fixed in the near future here. So that was the first order of business, a Skype for Business for Android mobile app update. Next, this was a cool, a good post out there on our Next Top team blog here. They're addressing an issue in which people that are using Exchange Online are missing that online meeting icon from OWA. They also say, do you have a missing OWA IM and scheduling online meeting button for your online Exchange users? So pretty much all the Skype for Business functionality that you normally expect to see in OWA, you're not seeing that for your Exchange Online users. If this is you, and they go on to say that you are using either Skype for Business or Link Server on-prem or hybrid with Exchange Online, then this may pertain, this may be the fix that you need if you're experiencing this problem with that same environment. And very well put together blog post, as you might expect from the Next Top team. They give you all the prereqs that you're going to need to go through this exercise, the software that's going to be deployed here, and then they start going through all the various steps with screenshots of how to find the cert that you need based on serial number, and what you're going to do to establish the pieces that need to be in place to allow that trust and that functionality, the trusted app that needs to be set up so that these proper Skype buttons will show up in OWA. So very good blog post. Great job, team that wrote it. Whoever you anonymous awesome people are, thanks for putting some effort into that. And like you can see, guys, there's a ton of detail here. Very meticulous steps. Great script examples. So I'm going to include the link, as I always do, on my YouTube video so that you can come and check this out if you're running into this problem. I know I've dealt with this problem in the past. Not with this same environment, however. I dealt with it in kind of a slightly different combination, more of a multi-tenant combination where I was seeing this, with Link 2013 hosting pack, which is really not much of a topic these days. So hope this helps some of you out there, and at the very, very least, it's some good reading to go over, just so that if you do come across this with the client or customer, you might already know what you're looking at before they even finish their sentence. So, good stuff. Let's jump to our next tab. All right. Let me see. I think this is by Trevor Miller. I think this is his blog here. And I had the pleasure of meeting Trevor at a Nashville user group a few months back. Very smart guy, nice guy, and he has an awesome blog going on here. This particular, I love what he does here. He's talking about video-based screen sharing within Skype for Business and Office 365. And this article is not new. As you can see, he wrote this in February 1st of 2016 here. And he calls out the fact that he had started talking about app sharing as the forgotten modality, and he was planning on following that up with VBSS as it came out, but Jeff Schertz beat him to it. And curious if they ever got to get together and hash out their differences over a beer when he's back in Chicago. So, you got to be quick. Got to be quick to beat Jeff to the punch on some of these groundbreaking technology blog posts. He's on top of it. But at any rate, like I said, this is not a new article. The reason it was shared this week is because if we go down here all the way and check out cumulative updates, this newest one, 3169044, this was released over this last week. And so he updated his article to include this. And like it says here, Skype for Business 2016 freezes when you are in a desktop sharing process. And in his blog post, he actually mentions that VBSS is cool and marks improvement in performance, but it is plagued by a number of issues at the time of the writing anyway. And this KB here addresses some of those issues anyway. The issue occurs in a peer-to-peer desktop sharing process in Microsoft Skype for Business 2016. When this issue occurs, the client crashes. No bueno. And this issue occurs only if both clients are Microsoft Skype for Business 2016, which would insinuate they're using VBSS. The cause occurs because the number of Windows GDI objects for the link.exe process increase. And so then we have the resolution here with a nice little link from June 7th. And he provided that. Very much appreciate you sharing that with us and updating your blog post. I love it when people have an older blog post with more relevant, newer content and they update them accordingly. I've had a few out there that I didn't realize there was an update on. Thankfully, I get people that will comment on it and reach out to me and let me know, and it gives me an opportunity to update things. And so community feedback is of the utmost importance in all these initiatives. But this is a great post outside of letting us know about this recent CU. Reading through this really he just goes into a bunch of granular details about VBSS, bandwidth planning, and at the beginning he of course gives you a little bit of an intro into what VBSS is versus the traditional desktop sharing over RDP. There is marked improvements in performance because we got away from RDP and we switched over to H.264UC for VBSS. And yes, like he points out, this is going over UDP and it is a much better improvement. However, where is VBSS available? The Office 2016 Suite version of the Skype for Business client on Windows machines only. That is a pretty limited set of places where you're actually going to be able to take advantage of that to this point. And then at that, just one-to-one peer-to-peer sessions. So yeah, there's obviously room for a lot of improvement there, and hopefully we'll see that in the coming weeks and months. But I suppose as most people get over to these newer clients, that'll just kind of take effect. At any rate, great job, Trevor, on the blog post in the first place. Thanks for updating us. And guys, if you are having any of these kind of crashing issues with VBSS, sounds like it's time to get a new CU. So, yeah. All right, and moving on to the last topic here. I have paused the video in the middle of where I was watching it, so there's nothing really good to see here. Maybe if I click over here. There we go. Look at that. We got a little bit of a screenshot. What this is just a brief little video that is shared out there by Office Videos discussing what's new in Office 365 for Windows. It's the May 2016 edition, but it was published on June 9th, so that's why it came up this week. It already has a pretty fair amount of views. So, for having been released so quickly, their main focus was Skype for Business, Skype for Business Online specifically. And what they're talking about in the video is offline messaging. So while some of us have already kind of begun to talk about this and get excited about it with on-prem and all that, it's now rolling out there for a lot of our Office 365 tenants. If you don't yet see it and you're using the 2016 click to run version of the client, the latest version, then it just may not quite be available for your tenant yet, possibly. But he does a great job of walking you through what it is, how to use it, what it looks like from the end user experience, and very good video for that. There's a few other really good support articles out there talking about how to enable it if it's not enabled, which it is by default. So that means someone would have had to disable it, as far as an on-prem environment goes, or even your online tenant. So there's videos, there's articles about that. Offline messaging, I personally think it's really cool. Some people were kind of like, I don't get it, but I personally think it's a great tool. Some people don't want to go and click new for email, and when you're doing an email, you don't feel the freedom usually to just jot a quick one-liner and send it. Some people do, but a lot of people feel like if it's an email, they need to do a formal greeting and a formal closing and kind of structured in a certain way. It doesn't have the informal feel that a quick IM has. And if someone's offline in IM in the past, then you can't just reach out to them via IM. You have to wait till they're online or away or something like that. And offline messaging allows you to send them an IM, just a quick one-liner, whatever, even while they're offline, and then they can retrieve it once they sign back in and take a look at what messages were waiting for them. So I think it's really cool functionality, and I'm glad to see it's making its way through the tenants in Office 365. So good stuff. Let's jump back over to our Infinity screen here and back over to the main video. All right, so we are going on about late o'clock. I'm feeling tired. And it's the evening, it's Friday night, and by golly, I'm ready to crack open a Shiner and thank Texas for this brief little trip we've had here. Or not so brief, but I hope the rest of you are getting a good kickoff to your weekend, enjoying it as well, but that you are also being safe and responsible individuals, that you are not getting behind the wheel after partaking in a beverage of choice. Everybody enjoy your weekend. Have a good one. Be safe. Be smart. Have a productive week. And I really hope that I will see you back here once again for next week's Skype for Business recap. Adios and good night, as it were, for me.